Hello, that's 51st Peril. I'm Samuel. In the times when many decide to study different branches of engineering, natural science, computer science, or whatever there is out there at the university, today's guest made a decision to learn something that all these areas have in common, namely mathematics. Is he still happy with his choice? What country is he from? How can anyone like math after all? Stay tuned to learn the answers to these and many other questions. Hello, Elias, and how are you doing?
Hi, Samuel. I'm fine. Actually, I'm good.
Okay, I'm very happy to have you on the podcast finally because you're very busy.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to be here, of course.
Okay, let's mention that you're doing masters here at this university, right? And that's the reason why you were so busy because you're writing your thesis, right?
Yeah.
And can you tell me more about your studies and just the field in general?
Okay. Yeah, of course, I can tell you. Mathematics generally is my first choice right from the beginning of my high school because the whole idea behind the choice of maths is that many people complain that this area is difficult and it's hard to understand. My determination is just that let me sit down and look for these difficulties. No one looks for trouble, but I want to see the difficulties that people are saying, and that is just my determination, and that's how I begin to learn mathematics right from high school until date. And from my experience so far, what I understood about mathematics in general is that it is not just the science of number. It's not just about numbers and theorems, but at human level, it increase our level of reasoning.
Okay.
Yeah, because everything in mathematics, I can say, is logically coherent. That's why we have theorems and their proof. You cannot just say something and without a proof. Even simply by saying 2 plus 2 is 4, it has a proof mathematically. If you are doing some real analysis, of course, this is clear to everyone, but we have proof for everything in mathematics.
Wow, that's a great motivation.
So that's one thing about mathematics, and actually it's the most, like I mentioned earlier, the most important part of it increase our logical reasoning. Your level of reasoning as a mathematician, I can say, is different from like normal,
Okay. What do you mean by saying that?
I don't want to be I don't want to say that those people that study mathematics are smarter, but when it comes to reasoning, logical reasoning, they are good at that.
No, that's very good.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you prove that?
Yes, of course. Because from my when you engage them in discussion, some brainstorming session, you see the outcomes from my experience. I have no evidence to justify this, but I'm telling you this frankly, that the outcome you see that is very, very logical. Because I believe these things. Everyone that can prove a theorem, of course, it's easy to apply it in real life situation.
Yeah, it is. Okay. So as I can, understand it from our conversation, you still like math. That's yeah.
There is no two ways about it.
Yeah, of course. Just another thing I wanted to ask you, like, can you explain why many people think that math is difficult?
Yeah. I can say because when it comes to difficulty in mathematics, is that it involves a lot of formulas. Let's say when you are doing arithmetic, you see a lot of formulas there. Some you have to like keep them in mind, and some you have to write them somewhere, and a lot of logic. If, for example, you are solving a problem, if you miss step 1, you cannot even move to step 2. And that is just one thing that I think people see difficulties in it. And of course, it involves a lot of jargons. I say jargons means symbols. Some symbols that are crazy when you say, what the what is this
Yeah, of
stuff,
course. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's one thing I can say about what I believe people see as difficult part of mathematics.
Okay. And here comes the next question. Can anyone do math, or is it for some specific people who understand it?
In general, I can tell you that, in my opinion, maths is the simplest subject to learn, because if you know it, you know it. If you prove a theorem in Poland this way, it is the same way that you prove it in Germany. It's the same way that you prove it in the United States. Nothing changes. Maybe the way you design the algorithm, or the way you decide to put your words, your logic, order, and rest, that's just what may vary. But you will arrive at the same conclusion. And that's why it's easy. It's not like other social science courses that maybe some things you need to have them in mind. Mathematics is not like that. If you know it, it's simple to solve. Even when it comes to examination, you don't struggle a lot. Yeah, because if you know how to solve a particular problem, you don't need to be rehearsing time and time. So that's why I consider mathematics as the simplest subject to pass. Yeah, in terms of exams and stuff like that.
Okay. Now we need to convince more people that it is true, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but that's interesting. The thing you mentioned, that mathematics is sort of like it is beyond the limits of like nations, right? That basically mathematicians can find this common language, and their common language can be math itself, right? That's very interesting. And can you give some, can you give a piece of advice to, let's say, students who just begin their journey in mathematics?
My advice generally to students, not only those that begin in the area of mathematics, but in science in general. Mathematics, if you are into science, you need mathematics. That is what I believe. Yeah, so, and if you are in the area of mathematics, it needs consistency. It needs constant practice. Yeah, because if you leave maths for a day, in my opinion, it leaves you for a week. Yeah, so that's why it requires a lot of practice. And the more you practice it, the more you'll be familiar with what it is, and the more you find it easy in general. So my advice in generally is that if you found yourself in the field of mathematics, you need to be very, very consistent. You need to keep a constant practice, and that is it. And that's I can say that's the secret.
That's good. Yeah, that's good advice. That's the secret. And I myself, as a future engineer, I also can prove that. I mean, I can attest to that. That's true. Like all the engineers, like no matter whether you're an aerospace or a mechanical or electrical engineer, you need math, of course. That's quite obvious, I guess, here for the students of this university. So now let's talk a little bit more about your country. So where are you from?
Okay. I am from Nigeria. That's a western part of Africa. Yeah, and in Nigeria, I'm originally from the western part of it, because we have like different geopolitical zones there. So I'm from the north.
Okay. So what's the difference, if you can share some information here?
Yeah. These geopolitical zones varies by some ethnic groups. Yeah, there are different languages, and languages varies by ethnic group. And I can say the weather condition is more or less the same everywhere. Just there are little bit differences in the geographical location, but it's more or less the same as a country. Just like case of Poland, I had that. I didn't travel a lot, but I had that Wrocław is warmer than compared to other cities.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
when it comes to
interesting.
the weather condition, I'm not sure about this, but
I
that's what
mean,
I had.
okay, I mean, do you mean throughout the year? Like, is it warmer here or?
I don't know. I'm just like trying to give a reference of when I'm explaining the situation of Nigeria.
Uh-huh.
It's the same country, but
Oh,
the
okay,
weather
yeah, yeah.
varies
I
by
understand.
location. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
of course.
and that's just the differences we have. The major ones are the ethical and the tribal languages differences, and then a little bit differences in the weather condition.
Okay, yeah, I see. So basically, let's just clarify it a little bit. So first, you said that, yeah, Nigeria is not that. I mean, the climate in Nigeria is pretty much the same everywhere, like in Nigeria,
Yes.
in this country, as it is in Poland.
Yeah.
Of course, you have like some warmer cities like Wroclaw, but generally, it's pretty much the same, right?
Yeah.
That's what you wanted to
Yes,
say.
exactly.
That's very good. And speaking of this, like tribal, you say that you have this division in Nigeria, and it is mostly connected to some tribes living there. So, which tribe do you belong? And do you belong to any tribe, or how is it?
Yeah, so in general, there are three basic languages, which are namely Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo.
Okay.
Yeah, and I belong to the Hausa.
Okay.
To answer your question, yeah.
Okay. And are these languages similar? I mean, can you understand some other
To be
two of the
honest, there
other?
is nothing in common
Ah.
to both, so all the languages are different.
So
Are
how?
entirely different. If
Uh-huh.
you speak Hausa, does not imply you speak Igbo or Yoruba.
Wow. So
That's all.
let's say if you go to another part of the country where people speak, can you repeat this language, Iba? Right?
Igbo.
Igbo. Yeah, for example, you cannot understand them.
Of course, if you go to like some very deep local areas that maybe they only understand Igbo, is you cannot understand what they are saying. Just
Okay.
that, like in Nigeria, English is a lingua franca.
Ah,
What
uh-huh.
I mean is official language, and average Nigerian can speak English.
Uh-huh.
Even not like fluent English, but we have pidgin, which is
Yeah.
maybe you
Oh,
heard
I've heard.
about
Yeah, I've
pidgin.
heard about pidgin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So everyone, an average Nigerian can speak pidgin, so it's easy to navigate within the country as
Yeah.
long as you can speak this common pidgin. It's very common.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, let's just explain what pidgin is. Pidgin is this like let's say variation of a language where you add some of the local
Stuff
words,
to,
right? Yeah,
to normal English.
uh-huh.
It's kind of, it's normally done in an informal conversation, mostly informal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's it.
That's interesting.
Like
Yeah.
if you want to say, I want to eat food, that's normal English, but in pidgin we say, I want chop.
Okay, so does this word mean food?
I want chop, like I want to eat.
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
good. Can
Food,
you?
food is the same. I want to eat food. I want chop food.
Ah, okay. Not bad, not bad.
Yeah.
So basically, that's not a problem if you go to some other
Yeah,
places,
yeah.
right? You
Language
can still.
is not a problem. You can survive.
That's good. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about the weather. So, when we were headed to the studio to record this podcast, you told me that probably this month, which is like March, is one of the hottest months there, or how is it?
Yes, we have Hamatan period in Nigeria. We call it Hamatan. That is during cold. When we call it winter here, and there in Nigeria is Hamatan.
Hamatan.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's when the weather is a little bit cold. Yeah, not as it is here.
Not, of
Yeah,
course
not at all. And we have the time when the weather is hot, like this time. Yeah, that is they both happen during the dry season, because we have the rainy season, or like in Poland that you can see rain at any time. In Nigeria, we have particularly rainy season and dry season. So
So during the dry season, there is no chance that
There
there is
is
rain.
the probability of rain is zero.
Oh,
Let me
okay.
speak as a mathematician. I can tell you that
Yeah.
is approach is definitely zero.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you barely see rain fall during this time. Yeah, and the rainy season start maybe in April or May. It varies by year. Yeah, yeah. So these are the two session we used to have in Nigeria. And like I mentioned, during the dry season, it used to be hot because the temperature used to be very, very high, getting to like that something degrees Celsius. And, people will be struggling a lot to bear the weather condition. Yeah. And that's the difficult part. During Hamatan, during the cold, it's okay because you only experience the cold situation from morning to noon. Afternoon is fine.
Okay.
So
Wow,
that's it.
that's interesting. So how long does it last? I mean, the first season and the next season, like the rainy season, is it like half a year and half a year, or is it different?
Mm,
And
I
do you have something in between? Let's say this like rainy
yes,
season, then something in
like
between.
I
And,
mentioned, in between is Hamatan,
Okay. But sorry, I
and
didn't get
we
it.
have
Yeah,
this
at first.
Hamatan,
Uh-huh.
and then we now enter the hot weather
Uh-huh.
condition, and
Okay.
then
Yeah, yeah.
eventually rain will begin to fall.
Yeah.
And just to ease, maybe to ease the situation,
So Hamatan is something in between,
is
right?
something in between. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Good, interesting. Yeah. And do you have any places you would recommend visiting? I don't know. Is there something like, let's say, some national forests, or maybe some other beautiful places in Nigeria?
Of course, there are a lot of beautiful places that are interesting. If you want to visit, I would say I can recommend places like in Lagos. We have this ocean area where
Uh-huh.
there's a lot of water with a lot of beautiful things there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then even a zoo is common. I think every country they used to. It's easy to have a zoo there,
Yeah.
but if you go there, you will see a lot of African animals that we don't have them here.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Just like the one we have in Wroclaw. So you see a lot of African animals there,
Yeah.
wild animals, and also the domestic one. So if you go there, you see a lot of them. You see different
Okay. Yeah.
species. Yeah.
Of course. I mean, yeah, here in Poland.
And also maybe in the future we talk about the food. Maybe if you are someone that is interested in testing different kind of food. Yeah, I
Okay.
also recommend. It's easy to. You can prepare some of our food here, but not actually as it is there.
Okay. So, why is that so? Like, do you need special conditions, or just in general? Like, I don't know. You don't have people here who can cook it. How is it? If you want to talk about it now,
Sometimes it's
or
just the availability of this
of some
food,
products, or
of this food product. Is the availability. We barely find them here. Even if you want to get them, you like get them at high price. Preparing, of course, if you are a local Nigerian, you can prepare those food. But for people that don't know how to cook or that don't like to cook, they have to go to restaurant to buy, even in Nigeria. But we don't have such African restaurant here. Especially in Wrocław, I don't know, there might be in other cities. But as far as I know, in Wrocław, we don't have such kind of African restaurant where we'll find our main local food for Nigerians. Yeah, but it's easy to prepare, of course.
yeah, of course. Yeah, that's a little bit sad that you cannot go somewhere and eat your food. But still, again, you cook your food here. So
Yeah.
Okay, and how do you like Wrocław, this city? Is it good? Do you like it? Is it beautiful? How's the weather?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I can say I like it because there's nothing to complain so far. So good.
Okay, yeah. So far, so good.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so far so good. Yeah. Since I came, I think the only challenging time is when we first arrived because of the difference in weather condition. I think it was in February.
Oh,
Although
okay. Yeah.
I,
I
you
can
know,
imagine. You
so
arrive here and
yeah,
all of a sudden it's cold.
yeah, it's still cold, but summer is approaching as at then. In February, summer is approaching. But when I landed at airport, when I step out, I begin to wonder. I even start looking up whether they hang AC somewhere. Because I couldn't believe it's the natural cold,
Yeah,
I was
okay.
looking whether they hang some ACs everywhere, and I didn't see anything. I asked my friend, "Hey, is this the weather?" He said, "It's a Nigerian that went to welcome us from the airport. That he lives here for some time."
Mhm.
He said he used pidgin. You don't see anything. This is just the beginning, you know.
Okay, I
Yeah.
see.
So
Yeah.
during that time, when I come out to classes and stuff, it's actually hard, I react to the cold. I react to the weather. But with time, I think my body is getting used to that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's adapting to the new changes.
That's good. Yeah, good for you. And now you, of course, you don't believe that there are some air conditioning, right?
Yeah. Now I know it's natural,
Cold. No, I mean, I can imagine your surprise. Like, yeah, you came to this country and that's something you experienced for the first time, right?
Yeah.
This cold and yeah. Wow, but that's actually interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard such thing, but yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And what about like the city itself? Like, for example, the architecture. I don't know. Was it something surprising?
Yeah, of course, the architecture is beautiful, I remember when I went to buy pizza with my colleagues. He's a Polish guy, so we were sitting and I used to hear some sound like cars are moving above my head. I asked, hey, are these cars moving up? He said, it's not even car, it's a tram, it's a train. I said, what? And I'm sitting on the train where, it's a kind of good architecture. It's an old building, but it's very, very strong. I was, please, let's eat and go because I didn't trust this.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So the architecture is fine, to be honest. Yeah.
That's very good. And probably the last question I want to ask you is whether you visited some other places, let's say in Poland.
Not really. I can tell you that I only been to Warsaw, Warszawa, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Warszawa.
because
Exactly.
during my studies, like when we have classes, it used to be very busy time. Yeah. And of course, I believe there are extracurricular activities that I can travel, but I didn't have a chance to travel like that. Not I don't have a chance. I'm not a travel person, by the way.
Okay, I see.
But I actually
That's kind of, that's interesting to hear it from you, a person sitting here in Poland.
yeah. But within Poland, I move all around, to integrate the city and all of that. Yeah. And that is it.
Okay, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming to this podcast. It was a nice conversation.
You're
And
welcome.
yeah, good luck with your job. Good luck with your studies, especially now that you're writing your thesis. So yeah, just good luck with that. And
Yeah,
I
thanks.
hope you finish it on time and everything is good. Thank you. And yeah, let's say goodbye to our listeners.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
This podcast was recorded at Radio Luz, LUZ on campus of Wroclaw University of Science and Technology. You can find more episodes on our YouTube channel, as well as on various other platforms connected to Radio Luz. You can write to us to 51st.parallel.podcast@gmail.com, which is 51st.parallel.podcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening and see you next time.